Hello everyone, I'm Heather and I'm here with the Strathmore Library for our STEAM Fridays. Today I am sharing the age group 7 to 11 and we are going to be talking about how do flowers bloom. So if you were able to pick up one of these kits from the library, you have everything you need apart from a glue stick, markers, water, and a shallow dish. So you'll need to add those few things. And inside this kit are some printed flower designs, coffee filters, and construction paper. So if you didn't get this kit and you have those things at home, you are more than welcome to participate as well, of course. So this program is designed for ages 7 to 11, but feel free to join in with your siblings if you're out of that range anyways. So I'm going to start with a bit of a story, and this is actually a non-fiction book, so it's got real information in it, and it's called Tell Me Why Flowers Bloom. So this is all about why do flowers bloom. Let's learn some more. This is by Nancy Robinson Masters. Choosing seeds. Are we going to the mall today? Callie asked. She and her sister Keisha love to go shopping with their grandmother. Yes, but first we're going to the seed store to buy a packet of flower seeds. At the store, there were hundreds of seed packets to choose from. Callie chose pansy seeds. Keisha chose daisy seeds. Look at pictures in plant catalogs. Find flowers that bloom where you live. So that's a good tip because not all flowers will grow very well here in Alberta. There are certain flowers that do really well here. So there they are picking out their seed packets. Do you want to go to the mall? Mrs. Lopez asked after they checked out. Let's head home and plant our seeds in the garden, Callie said. We want to see whose flowers bloom first. There they are. From buds to blooms, all living things are made of cells. Genes are part of cells. They are the codes in cells that control different things. For example, human genes control things like the color of our hair and the size of our feet. Plant genes control how roots grow. They control the size of the stem and the shape of the leaves. They control where the flower buds from. Plant genes control how the blooms will look and smell. So here are some little sprouts at different stages. So they start off real small and then they're growing up into this bigger plant, which is getting some bigger leaves. Flowers have to wait until the air temperature is warm enough for them to bloom, but the blooming doesn't begin after just one warm day. It takes many warm days to encourage flowers to grow. The number of warm days needed and how warm they must be are different depending on the kind of flower. Some flowers bloom once a day, others bloom once a year or only at night. All flowers bloom in order to make new seeds. So that is a hot tip because in order to get seeds, we have to have flowers bloom. So ask questions. Ask an adult to help you find a flower to study. Which parts from this diagram can you find and which parts are still underground? So without picking a flower, you can identify all these parts that are above ground, so that includes the flower, the leaf, the bud, the shoot, the stem, and then underground we've got the primary root, the lateral, and the lateral root right there. Plants make pollen for this purpose. Pollen is powdery material that pollinators carry from plant to plant. Wind, insects, birds, and animals are natural pollinators. Some pollinators, like bees and butterflies, carry pollen from flower to flower during the day. Bats and moths pollinate flowers that bloom at night. Flowers that are not pollinated do not make new seeds. So, why do some people sneeze a lot when flowers bloom? Anybody know? I think it's allergies. attracting pollinators. Callie and Keisha made their choices by looking at the flower pictures on the seed sacs. How do pollinators choose which plants to pollinate? Some flowers attract pollinators with the nectar they produce. Nectar is the sugary fluid made by flowers that birds and insects like to drink. Certain shapes of flowers attract some pollinators. Other blooms give off sweet odors. Plants can even trap pollinators inside their blooms. So there's some beautiful blooms, and we've got our bee right here, one of the pollinators, picking up some pollen. All flowers need soil, sunshine, and water to grow and bloom. It just takes one seed to make a plant, but a plant can make many flowers. And here we've got a hummingbird, which is also a type of pollinator, and they're attracted to flowers that have nectar that they can drink. When will they bloom? Callie's pansies are annuals. The plants will bloom and make seeds for 1 year. Then Callie will need to plant more seeds to grow new plants. Keisha's daisies are perennials. The same plants will bloom year after year. So here is a picture of pansies, which are annuals. So you have to plant them every year, replant them, because they don't come back every year. So they live for the spring and summer, and then they die back in the fall. Whereas daisies, which are perennials, will come up in the spring the next year because they can survive the winter. The girls looked at the labels on the seed sacs. The pansy seeds will become plants with blooms in about 3 months. It will take 2 months for daisy seeds to become plants with blooms. Keisha's daisies will bloom first. So there's a picture of her daisies. And we've got things to think about. So a plant nursery grows flowers for sale. You can choose annual or perennial flower seeds, and you can think of the reasons why each one is good. What's the best thing to do if you see bees or wasps in a garden? Should you leave them alone? I think so, because they are what help make our flowers bloom. So that is why do flowers bloom? All about that. So we'll get on to our experiment next. Okay, we are ready to do the experiment portion of our video here. So this is the How Do Flowers Bloom kit. This little strip tells you how to find the videos, but you're already here watching the video, so good job. In this kit, as I said, you'll have some printed flower designs, some coffee filters, and some construction paper. And what you'll need to add is a glue stick, some markers, and a shallow dish with water in it. So let's open up our kit and get out our supplies. So we've got, these are the printed flower designs, and we've got a couple of coffee filters here. And we've got some construction paper as well. Everybody got different colors of paper. So what we're going to do first is make some flowers, and then we're going to get our flowers to bloom in our dish of water. So the different papers are to kind of mimic different flowers, because not all flowers are the exact same sort of material. Some petals are thick, some are thin, some are fuzzy, some are not fuzzy, some are smooth, all different kinds of things. So you're going to take your markers and color these flowers in however you like. I've got this really bright yellow color, which I love. It's like a highlighter. So I'm just quickly coloring some of these flowers in. And you can take your time with this, color your flowers in multiple different colors, make some designs on them. You can model them after real flowers you've seen, or you can use your imagination and make them really wild, colorful, rainbow, whatever you want. A rainbow flower would be super cool. And so we're going to do that on some of these flowers. Maybe I'll color one more. You can color a few or color all of them. Doesn't really matter. On the construction paper, we're going to draw some flowers. So these don't have to be perfect. No flower in nature is perfect, and that's what makes it beautiful. So just draw whatever kind of flower shape you want onto the construction paper. There's a 4-leaf clover sort of flower, and same with on the purple paper. I'm gonna draw some flowers on there. I'm just doing tone on tone here, using a purple marker on my purple paper and green on my green, but you can do whatever you want to do. Do some in different sizes. We're going to be cutting these out after. Take one of your coffee filters and same thing, draw some flowers on your coffee filter. The coffee filter is going to be fun because the color in here will blend together when it gets wet in the water. So if you want to use some different colors and blend them together, that'll look really cool. I've got marker seeping through here, but that's okay. It's washable marker. It'll wipe off my table here. So I'm not too worried about that. We'll add maybe a blue to these ones so we can see some color blending on the coffee filter. But we are using all these different materials, like I said, to mimic different flowers because flowers are made of all different variants. So we're going to cut these out. I like to cut each flower in a circle, so I've got a smaller piece of paper to work with, and then I'll cut out in more detail. And this is a good practice for using your scissors and working on your cutting skills. So we'll cut those out. I might skip ahead here so you don't have to watch me cut out all the flowers. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back with my flowers cut. Okay, so I have magically got all my flowers cut out here. I've got them in different sizes and different materials here. So what we're going to do next is take our glue stick and attach some of them together. So some of them I do want to keep as a single layer. So I think let's do this bigger plain paper one as a single layer. And then for this one, I'm going to attach that flower in the middle of the other flower, and then we're going to fold it up. So we want our petals to have slits down to the center so that we can fold the petals in like this. And what I mean by that, so let's show you an example here. If my flower had really shallow sort of petals like this, those petals won't fold very far in. It will still work, but we want to make some cuts into our... Got cut off there. So I want to make some cuts into our flower like this so we've got more petal that we can fold up. So I've already done that with these flowers, and I'm going to, so I've got that one folded. I'm going to fold this one up. So just fold all the petals into the middle like this so that it's just folded like that. We're going to make a couple more double layer ones. So we'll fold, this one I'm going to fold the inner petals separately. So we'll fold these purple petals in like that, and then I'll fold in the green petals like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. So these are basically like flower buds that we're making. So these flowers have not bloomed yet. And same with this sky. I'm gonna attach my 2 coffee filter flowers together and fold those in. So again, I'll fold the middle layer first, and then I'll fold these outer larger petals in. And my hypothesis, my best scientific guess, is that this one is going to bloom the fastest in water because it's the thinnest material. And these 2 I think I'll actually leave as 1 layer flowers too. So being the thinnest material, it will fill up with water the fastest and bloom the fastest. So that's my guess. But I'm not sure if that's going to be correct, so we'll find out. We've got all of our little flower blooms here. We've got our water. So what we're replicating here is a flower blooming in nature. So the flower itself is a bud. It grows as a bud, like we've got these little folded up flowers. So it's got all of its flower parts and they're growing inside the bud. And the plant itself gets water from the ground through its roots, so it soaks up water up through the roots, up through the stem, through the leaves, which make the leaves bigger and fuller, and then the flower will keep drinking the water, and the water will make the flower expand as well. So that's what we're going to be experimenting with here today. So I'm going to put a few of these in at the same time. I'm going to put this one, this coffee filter one, and this regular paper one that I colored, and see which blooms. Now I don't think they're going to bloom really fast, but we'll keep an eye on, and we might speed up the video at some point. So let's put them in the water. Oh, it did bloom fast. Look at those. Wow! Well, I'm so glad I shared my guess because it was actually the opposite of what I suspected. This guy bloomed really fast. He kind of sunk. He's not really floating. This middle part is still opening. You can see it moving here. So my middle flower, there it goes. But my coffee filter flower didn't really bloom at all. It just absorbed all the water and it sunk. And it is leaking all of its marker here. As you can see, the marker's coming off in the water. So this guy didn't really bloom like a normal flower. I can open him up, but I would say the experiment is much better demonstrated by our other paper flowers here. So that was really interesting. I was totally wrong, and my guess was wrong. So very cool to actually learn. And this guy, because he kind of sunk here, let's try to open him up a bit more. He worked okay, but I'd say the construction paper worked the best. It bloomed really nicely. So let's put my flowers in a container here. I zoomed in so you can see a little better. We'll zoom back out, and I'll put my bloomed, used up flowers in my container here. So we'll empty our dish, and I'm gonna zoom back in a little bit, and we'll put our remaining flowers here. So we've got another paper flower, a regular paper flower, and 2 single layer construction papers. So here we go. Look at how fast it's going. When I learned about this experiment, oh, that flower just pushed this flower out of its way. When I learned about this experiment, I thought the videos I was watching were sped up, but those construction paper ones work really well. So this guy is kind of stunted here. He's still trying to bloom a little bit, but I think because I folded the 2 layers together, his inner petals are trying to open at the same time, so he's having a bit more trouble. If I had folded the petals separately like I did for some of the other ones, it might work better. But he is still blooming here, so I'll help him out a little bit. Let's open those up, and he sunk as well. So let's try putting him on top of one of those. See if he blooms anymore. Now he's just sticking together because, yeah, he needed a little help.